and welcome to episode 170 of Anime and Us. I'm TJ.
And I'm Shawn.
And it's the review show that reviews anime from A to Z. Sort of.
So, this week episode, we are reviewing TJ's kind of random pick, to be honest.
Yeah, it was just happenstance.
Rin Daughters of Mnemosyne. It's a 6-episode Japanese anime television series produced by Zebek and Genko.
I'm going to try and... I think it's Mnemosyne. Rin Daughter of Mnemosyne. But I don't know because it's spelled weird. It's Mnemosyne. So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, that's fair. The anime is 6 episodes, aired February 3rd, 2008 to July 6th, 2008. It feels like a 90s, even though it looks newer.
Yeah, I actually looked up an episode guide going on through this.
So did I.
And
you need it.
A little bit. Yeah, and when I saw it, they listed it as the episodes as part 1 and part 2, so I wonder if there is actually 12 episodes and they just combined the parts together.
No, it's only 3. I looked it up.
Okay.
Or 6, I'm sorry.
Okay, I was just kidding, because I did see it was the title part 1 and then part 2.
I think that's because episodes 1, 2, and 3, while spaced apart yearly from 2 to 3, they're still kind of different than 4, 5, 6.
Right.
4, 5, 6 are a little farther apart.
Gotcha.
I don't know. Anyway, this is a tough watch, not because it isn't interesting and there aren't interesting elements, but because each episode's long, even though it's only 6 episodes.
Yeah, it's 45 minutes an episode.
Which makes it kind of tough. We're used to 20 minutes, and if I need to do something, I just go do something or whatever.
Right.
But also for its interesting elements, and especially in the beginning, what's going on, it doesn't keep you interested very well.
No, and it's very obtuse in a lot of areas, and it doesn't explain enough to really get you to follow what's happening.
Speaking of that, so on the wiki, which is what we use for the the dates and all that for whenever we talk about the intro. Well, so under the plot on the wiki, it immediately starts talking about the Yggdrasil tree. Yes. Which wasn't a thing until episode 5 and 6.
Well, the thing
the overall plot is definitely about that,
right.
But you don't know that until the last 2 episodes.
That's true, but the thing was that tree was in the background from the first episode.
It was, but it was just kind of there, and again, you're like, oh, that looks interesting,
right?
And then you literally don't find anything else about it until episode 5,
right?
And again, normally that would be oh, it's only a couple episodes. No, 5 is actually episode 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Because of how long they are.
If you're not paying attention, you'll get lost very easily. And even if you're paying attention, you can get lost.
I was paying pretty good attention, and like you mentioned, I needed an episode guide.
I had to bring up an episode guide to understand what's going on.
Things would happen. They weren't always spoken. And if you don't remember that character's name, then you're lost on some of the plot.
Yep. It's rough. I guess speaking of all that, good luck with the premise.
So, the premise, I'm going to give you the overall premise. Normally, the premise that we give is the early episode premise, and then the show builds from there.
Right.
That doesn't make sense for this.
No.
The overall premise is there are these spherical orb things.
Seeds, I think they're called.
Yeah, whatever. When they go into women, they turn them into immortal beings, which we can explain later. But essentially, they can't die, even if they get
murdered
or turn into mist, they regrow.
Murdered and brutal.
So they turn into Deadpool a little bit.
Yeah, murdered and brutal in terrible ways.
When they go into men, they can still heal a little bit, but nowhere near as well as the women. They can die if you shoot them in the head.
Yeah.
But the men turn into angels is what they call them. They get these weird wings, and then they eat the women. But when the women are around the men, the angels, they become turned on and want to please the men.
Yes.
But the men eat them.
Yeah, but
they eat them, and then they eat their little orb thing.
Yeah, they essentially the women do get turned on, but they essentially want to be eaten by the angels too. Yeah. So
they're being physically eaten. They're yes, eat me more.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so that's that. Then there's this Yggdrasil tree thing.
Yggdrasil, yes.
And there's this watcher that watches over the tree, after X amount of years, a lot of years. They need to mate with one of the women.
Yeah.
That or the immortal women to create a new watcher of the tree for some... I don't know. It doesn't really make any sense. There's no reason for any of it, really.
No.
It's just there.
Honestly, they probably should have stuck with the premise from the first episode and just ran with it.
Yeah. And, like, you can add a different backstory to why she's immortal if you want to do that. Like, you could still have the angels in it. Like, you could still have all that, but the whole Yggdrasil tree with all the guy, like, I don't know, it's just too much.
Honestly, I would have preferred it if it was just 6 episodic episodes of her just doing detective work.
It would have been better. So, the normal premise we would give you is Rin, her girl assistant, are essentially like a detective agency.
Yes.
They track things down, they look for lost things, whatever it is. And that's kind of it. That would essentially be the beginning and end, besides the fact that she's immortal.
And then there's this one girl that constantly hunting her down.
Yeah, I mean, that happens. So, she's just like an assassin, just like a random assassin that was hired to kill her.
Yeah.
And she dies, or gets defeated. And it's like, now this is a lifelong vengeance.
Yeah, and
I'm going to murder you. I'm going to figure out how to murder you.
Like, the show time skips a lot, and she's even hunting her 30 years in the future, and she's like a
more than that, because there was like a 10-year time skip, then a 20-year time skip, then like another 20 to 30-year time skip.
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot of time skips here.
And then the assassin, it's like a cyborg at one point.
But she got one of the orbs, and they explained that when you're a perfectly healthy person, you get the orb. When you die or you get hurt, you heal back to that form. Mm-hmm. But let's say you have only one arm, and then you get the orb. Well, now, every time you die or heal, you don't get both arms. You go back to the state when you got the orb. So she was all f***ed up. So she got the orb, and she's technically alive, but she's really f***ed up, and she eventually becomes a cyborg and all that jazz.
It's almost like vampirism a little bit. You're stuck in the form you are when you get turned into a vampire.
There's lots of sex.
Yeah.
Like, this is like a Skinamax.
Yeah, I don't want to call it fan service-y, because it is.
It didn't feel fan service-y. It felt like we're f***ing because we want to f***.
Yeah, it's just part of the plot. You know what I mean? But it's full of it. It's like all over. Like, there's rape and stuff happening in
There's rape, and there's, I wouldn't call this one rape, but, like, I have information that you want, and the only way you're gonna get it is by f***ing me. You know what I mean? Is that technically rape? I mean, you don't want to do it, but you don't have to do it. You can walk away.
I would call that more blackmail.
Yeah. Well, blackmail's more like, I have information on you, and if you don't want it to get out, you'll f*** me. This is more like, I have information that you want. Like, no one's gonna find out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not quite, it's somewhere in the middle between blackmail and...
No, so
you know what I mean?
In that case, if she wants, it's prostitution at that point.
I guess, yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Definitely a Me Too movement. Hashtag.
I mean...
A little bit. It felt dirty.
I mean...
And then especially making the male partner, because eventually they got a male partner, to sort of run errands or whatever and help them out. Mm-hmm. So, like, part of the deal was, like, you're gonna f*** my friend, I'm gonna watch, and the male is gonna sit and watch. And then when he's not watching, she's like, hey, turn and look. If you don't watch, deal's off. You don't get the information. It was really f***ed up.
Yeah, I know, but like you said, they didn't have to do any of that.
It's true. Just really weird.
Like, some people would actually get off on that stuff. So
for sure, but it's just odd.
I don't think that's a Me Too thing. I think it
felt a little bit because she didn't want to do it.
Yeah, but she didn't have to.
That's true.
It's like...
Okay, so Louis C.K. did nothing wrong. I'm sorry.
I actually don't follow.
Oh, so Louis C.K. comedian.
You know who he is.
So, I want to say, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. Something like that. He's in his apartment with multiple younger women. I wouldn't say young, mid-20s, 30s, whatever. Throughout his career, not at one time. And, they're in his apartment, whatever, and he's like, hey, can I jerk off in front of you?
Okay.
And he got canceled because of that. Now, on one hand, he's kind of he's not their superior in the sense he's the boss. Maybe 1 or 2 instances he was, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But, like, the general feel was, like, he's this big comedian, and, like, you're gonna do what he wants because he can help you. A little bit of power dynamic. On the other hand, you're kink shaming if you say he did something wrong, because he asked. Alright? He was a gentleman.
I have no opinion on this matter because I don't know enough about what's going on. So, until I have more facts, which I am not going to dive into.
Those are all the facts, to be fair. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay. Anyway.
I defend him.
Oh, of course you do. It sounds like right up your alley of something.
Justin hates him because of what he did.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. We actually, during D&D, we had a moment where I was like, dude, he asked. And he's like, yeah, but he was like, they're superior. And I'm like, no, he wasn't. But he asked. I don't know. Anyway, back to the crappy anime. It sucks because we watched that one episode together, and it was like, oh, this might be good.
Yeah, it was misleading, actually.
And it really wasn't. Like, it had interesting plot lines. Like, I want to see what happens with this whole angel thing and her healing on this girl coming back and hurting her.
Yeah, I wouldn't say this anime is good, but I wouldn't call it bad either.
It's not middle of the road.
Yeah, I know. It's not that either, though.
It's 4. I guess that's the best you could give it.
Are we already at the end here?
I hope so. More happens.
Well, what did you think about...
She has to find a stamp at one point.
Yes, that was...
That was a weird episode.
Every episode was weird. Like, the first episode, she's, like, getting pierced to death.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, literally, this one other woman's piercing her everywhere. Kills her, brutally. So...
Oh, towards the end, Apos? The guy with the boobs?
Yeah.
He was, like, the guardian of the tree or whatever. And he needed a mate to make a new guardian. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to become, like, a new being or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so, like, in order to become this new being, he had all these immortal women that he took the orb out of that were, like, clumped up together.
Mm-hmm.
And he had all these different orbs, and he was doing something to create himself into a new being with them. But, like, he was taking the orbs and inserting them in the women, not just, like, pushing it through their, like, arm. He would put it through their mouth, and then in other places. And it was just super awkward and weird.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like I was watching anime anymore.
No, it was gratuitous at points. Very gratuitous. Almost hentai levels.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Really, honestly, it's anime Skinamax.
Yeah, it's...
Like, we're doing something off-screen. You can't quite see it.
Yeah.
You know what we're doing.
It's... I don't want to compare it to it because it's not quite as bad. It's nowhere even near as bad as Elfen Lied. But, like, it's almost that gratuitous, but you know what I mean?
At times it's more. Like, I think this actually tops Queensblade for, like, sex scenes and stuff.
Oh, yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Queensblade is tame in comparison to this.
Surprisingly. Queensblade is more, like, flaunty. Like, oh, fan service here, fan service there.
Well, at the same time, Queensblade, there was no real sex in it in Queensblade. It was all... It was all nudity. Yeah. It was just like, oh, my clothes are torn off.
Yeah.
Whereas this is just...
Squirting milk.
Yeah.
That was funny.
That was... Queensblade is, like, hilarious fan service. And this is just awkward. You know what I mean? Of course, people are gonna like different aspects of it and stuff like that. But, well, I was curious about, what did you think about the time skips?
I didn't hate the time skips.
No?
No, I kind of like those.
Like,
and by the way, I wouldn't have known her assistant was an immortal until the time skip, because she didn't age.
Right, yeah.
And then, like, I picked up that she happened to be immortal after, like, the second time skip.
Right.
And then she, at the last time skip, she was a Buddhist, celibate nun or whatever they called it.
Buddhist priest or something.
It was so dumb. It was so dumb. You just wanted to put her in a fun outfit to rip her clothes off and rape her. That's all you wanted to do.
Yeah, that's true. From a writing standpoint. I mean, from a story point standpoint, she lost her girlfriend, so...
Yeah, but she lost her girlfriend like 30 years ago.
Yeah, but when you're...
You can figure it out. You're an immortal being. You've been alive for like 300 years.
Yeah, but when you're immortal, 30 years is like 2 years.
Exactly. So, 2 years later, I'm a nun. I'm going to go be celibate.
Why not?
It's dumb.
Some people do that. Don't judge people's grief, Shawn.
Retarded. Speaking of the word, what does hard R mean?
Hard R?
Yeah. You said the hard R version of this word. What word am I referring to? You don't have to say the word. Say, like... You don't know what hard R means?
No.
So you say the N-word, N-I, right?
Okay.
With the A, and then the hard R means like you're racist, you're saying it with the ER. You've never heard that?
No.
Jesus Christ, that's a thing. Linus from Linus Tech Tips was doing, it was so funny, he was doing his podcast, and he referred to hard R, and like his podcast host was like really confused because in the context of the conversation, the N-word wouldn't have come up. He was talking about retard. He thought hard R referred to retard.
Honestly, when you said hard R, that was where my mind went to.
Oh my god. You people.
Like, in the context of the conversation...
Well, in the context for this conversation, that's fair. Because I said retard twice right before I brought it up. But in general, it was just funny because he's like so innocent, didn't quite understand. So like, it was just hilarious to watch that clip.
Yeah,
I said retard, it made me think of it, sorry.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, I'm gonna give it 4, guys. It's not great. It's worth a watch if you like older anime, if you like mature, serious tones. My biggest issue, though, is, like, it sure has mature, serious tones, but they're just there.
Yeah.
It doesn't really further the plot. Like, oh, we're just gonna because we want to but it's not furthering the plot too much.
Even the rape scenes, like, they don't further anything. They're just there. Like, they're not, like, handled or anything. Like, the person who was, being raped doesn't deal with that or anything.
Yeah, it's not an issue. Like 5 minutes later, she's fine.
Yeah. So, yeah, they are just there for the sake of being there. They are gratuitous in that sense.
Same with the gore.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with gore. I don't have anything wrong with either of these things, but like it's just gratuitous in there.
Gore is always just there to be gore.
Yeah, it's a bit much. I was reading one guy's review on Reddit about this, and he was saying like how much he loved it and how it like made him question his sanity. Like the viewer questioning his sanity.
Right.
Are you for? Like, why would this make you question your sanity?
Like I watched it on the other site that I told you about, and I was reading the comments, and on the comments on the first one, it was like, this guy went off on it, and he says, stop watching this anime after episode 1, it just goes downhill, and makes you start thinking things that you shouldn't be thinking.
Like what? Maybe people were watching this too young.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, like an 11-year-old watching this, and it's gory, and there's rape and stuff, and like, oh, I feel uncomfortable watching this. That makes sense. But like, for an adult, it's just like, this is kind of dumb.
Yeah, that's true. We're coming at it from a different perspective, too.
Yeah.
We're older watching anime, the general anime audience is kind of younger, I would say.
That's fair.
So
that kind of makes sense now.
Yeah.
Still a 4.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's a curiosity. I'll say that.
But if you like older anime, and, you know, it could be up your alley.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I'm not gonna, say don't watch it, but wasn't for me.
Yeah, it wasn't for me. It's unfortunate. Alright, guys. So we are on Category S, and we are going to watch the new version of Shaman King.
Okay.
I've seen quite a few episodes when I was a kid. It's corny, but it's a shonen.
So wait, there's an original version of the Shaman King?
Yeah, this is the 2021 version. I haven't seen the 2021.
Oh, okay, so we're watching the new Shaman King.
Yeah. So it's just redone. It's not like a sequel. They just remade it.
Okay, so
this is the one I watched when I was a kid.
Is it a beat for beat one?
A what?
A beat for beat remake.
As far as I can tell, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, like the characters all look the same. They're just, updated and current.
Okay.
With art.
Is what do we got here? Action, adventure, comedy. Oh, of course it's a shonen.
Well, I said shonen.
I didn't hear that.
That's the only reason why we're watching it.
Okay, I see why we're watching it now. Another goddamn shonen.
But shamans are extraordinary individuals with the ability to communicate with ghost spirits and gods. So that, it kind of reminds me of Yu Yu Hakusho a bit. Just a more kid version of that.
Kiddie version of Yu Yu Hakusho.
Not kiddie, kid. Kiddie makes it sound like 4. You know what I mean?
Okay.
More like this is more generated for kids and teens.
So
whereas Yu Yu Hakusho, in my opinion, is more teen adult.
Okay, so it's 8-year-olds then.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe your son would like it.
Probably. Or 90 episodes in the One Piece. Oh my! So we're watching One Piece, and they're on the way to Alabasta, and I forget who it was, but someone is on board and they can shapeshift and turn into other people. They turn into Nami and flash the crew, and my son is cracking up.
So my first question is
we're not watching all that.
Yeah, there's 52 freaking episodes.
You tell me when to stop, and we'll stop.
I don't know if you want me to do that.
No, it's fine.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I'm not. It's like 2.5 paragraphs. I'm not reading it, but essentially the premise is there's ghosts and stuff, and some people can see them. You can sort of assume the ghost's power. So, if you were an old samurai and a legendary samurai, and you're a ghost on Earth and a shaman, can sort of assume your abilities when you're a human.
Okay.
And spiritual stuff. So I'm sure it goes beyond just human ability.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, it's your choice.
That's it. I didn't see much else in S I wanted to watch. I mean, there's Steins Gate O, but
we already covered Steins Gates.
And I've seen Steins Gate O. I don't need to watch it again.
All right. I guess this is what we're covering then.
See you guys.
Bye.